friends, I welcome you once again in our second part of the chapter India's internal challenges. The last chapter we have learnt about the separatist movement as well as the introduction of the issues related to the Northeast. In the first issue today we are going to learn related to Mizoram. As soon as India got independence in 1947, the Mizo majority province got autonomous. The province got administrative autonomy. But in 1954, when the State Organization Commission was established, the hope of Mizo people increased and they started to demand for the independent Mizo province for the Mizo tribes which were comprised in that Lushai hills of Himalaya. The province of Mizoram got a severe experience of drought. During that condition, Lal Denga emerged as a leader of Mizo people and he helped a lot for the common people to overcome with that difficulties. In 1961, Lal Denga established one political party named that Mizo National Front. And the main aim was to establish this party to give the status for the Mizo people and their independent province for that tribe. So, for the demand of Greater Mizoram, that Mizo National Front organized the march and protest in March 1966. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi successfully suppressed the rebellions and their protest what they were demanding for the independent state for the Mizo people. When that war ended between the India and Pakistan in 1971, when the situation became calm, they gave the status for the Mizo province in the form of union territory. But issue and demand of an independent Mizo province was continuously emerging there. In 1984, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi had an agreement with the Mizo National Front, and according to that, in 1984, Mizoram was declared as a full-fledged state, and Lal Denga became the first Chief Minister of Mizoram state. So, friends, let's go for the next issue related to the Northeast in the form of Nagaland. Naga tribe, which is known as a martial tribe, live in North India, which is comprised into the Naga hills and the borders of Assam and Myanmar. In 1946, the well-educated Naga youth came together and they formed that Naga National Council, that is the form of NNC, and Angami Zapu Fizu initiated or led to that ANCC, Naga National Council. In 1955, Naga National Council, the Youth Federation, declared the Independent Federation of Nagaland. So in that case, that there was a skirmish between the Naga tribe and Assam Rifle, which turned toward the violence. After the several rounds of the discussion between the central government and Naga National Council, that central government agreed to give the status of union territory to Naga dominated areas. At last, for the attempts of Naga National Council got a success, and from 1st of December 1960, Nagaland was declared as an independent state. In 1983, intense hesitation was there by all Assam Students Union and Assam Gan Sangram Parishad on the issue of the dominance of the Bengali migrant in Assam. In 1985, an accord was signed by Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, Central Home Minister Shankarraj Chavan and Assam Gan Parishad leader Praful Kumar Mahanto. According to that, it was decided that Bangladeshi migrants would be sent back on their native place. So in 1986, the general elections were held on them. The issue of the Bengali migrant, the Assam Gan Parishad got a majority and Praful Kumar Mahanto became Chief Minister of Assam. So that elections in 1986 brought Assam into the peaceful track and it made the progress and development to sort out the issues related to the Bangladeshi migrant. After independence, friends, Naxalism became the great threat for Indian democracy and it's become a very difficult to bring them in a mainstream of development. So if you learn that the origin of the Naxalism which was in 1967. The origin of Naxalism started at the Naxalbari, Darjeeling district of West Bengal. Organized small farmers and land laborers, they took control on their own lands and they declared that land as a free from the landlords in 1967. The objectives of to launch this movement were the first one that to raise the voice against the exploitation of small farmers and land laborers, to confiscate the land of landlords and distribute it among the tenant farmers. So this all the objectives after the span of time that Naxal movement derailed from their main objectives what we talk about that it derailed from all the main objectives of their what this movement was launched there and along with that they started to oppose the welfare policies and democratic process of government and started to keep people away from the touch of development. So because of that, Naxalism today is become the big threat and challenge for Indian democracy. Naxalism mainly comprised and spread in the central India, Maharashtra's Chandrapur, Bandara, Gadchiroli, Jharkhand, West Bengal, some parts of Andhra Pradesh, including that Telangana. Conflict between the central government's paramilitary force and People Liberation Guerrilla Army, which is established by the Naxalite movement, still going on. The biggest challenge in front of Indian democracy that is the communalism. Identity of democratic India is that unity in diversity. We have the many religion, many languages, regional diversity, all kind of diversity we have there. Still we stand for the nation as an Indian. Right from the years and years that many communities or religions in India have been living together with the cooperation. Britishers introduced the policy divide and rule became the great setback for the unity of Indian people. In 1905, Lord Curzon made a partition West Bengal and East Bengal. One was Hindu dominated, one was Muslim dominated to weaken the movement of independence in Bengal region. Communism was inspired by Britishers. When India got when India got independent in 1947, it got in three parts based on the religion. Hindu dominated in India, Muslim dominated in East Pakistan and West Pakistan. And after the independence, we could see that huge bloodshed, murders, killings, and riots, and all these things were responsible from them. How did it come? It came all the both the people, Hindu and Muslim, they used to live together, they fought together for the independence or freedom of our country to make our motherland free. But when Britishers introduced and made them separate from each other, in that case the reason was there Britishers brought, they lit up in the mind of Muslims and Hindus about that their religion, and they started to think about their own selfishness. They started to think about their religion. Idea of my religion is superior than others is inferior became the cause to divide into two parts, and sometimes it only we can see or it looks only beautiful to see on the page, but practical level when we see that the violence, the murders, the massacres and the brutality against each other, so it became the great threat for the Indian democracy. Friends, let's learn regionalism as India's internal challenge. What is regionalism? The regionalism means a excessive pride. What's excessive pride? Regionalism means having excessive pride of one's region. I would say that I am Marathi, so I would have the pride about Maharashtra. Gujarati will have a pride about Gujarat. In Punjabi will have a pride about Punjab. In this way that when the person, the people started to think about an excessive pride of their own region, so that creates the difference between a people and creates the walls based on the region. After the independence in 1947, some states got a rapid development and industrialization. Some states still they are struggling to overcome with that. The developed states like Punjab, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, etc. And undeveloped states like Bihar, UP, Odisha and rest of other states. So the reason is that well, those are the developed state. They have industrialization, they have health facilities, they have cultural facilities, they have all kind of the developments are there. So which provides employment, health, life and all kind of the facilities to the people of that region. But in the sense of other side, those are undeveloped states. Just I give the example of Bihar, Odisha and rest of other states which are not developed full. So naturally there is no industrialization, no development, no growth. So in case of that, the people of such an undeveloped state suffer with the harassment of unemployment, health, education. People from that undeveloped state start to shift our mind toward developed states. So the flow of the migrants turn from the undeveloped state to developed state toward the clashes and violence also, and become the great threat for the people to make them united. So if the Marathi people would fight for the Maharashtra, then what about the Gujarat would fight about the Gujarat, then Bihari would fight for the Bihar, that Odishi would fight for the Odisha, Bengali would fight for the Bengal. In this reason, it would be very difficult for the people who belong from the different state under the one flag for the united India. So you understood the concept of India's internal challenge in the second part.